All right, I'm going to go ahead and start our priority party. So I'm the only one here who did not promote it well, and I chose a really silly time. I chose it based on when I'm usually on Zoom calls, which is at 2 o'clock or 11 a.m. because I have my high school students joining me and we visit about everything. So probably nobody's going to show up. I should have done this in the evening. Of course, you don't have time to come at 2 o'clock. It's like either quiet time if you have little kids, or you're still like involved with your teenagers. You can't take time out like I do at 2 o'clock. I've just trained my children to not be around at 11 a.m. or 2 o'clock, and they are used to it. So, priority party. What you need is you need a piece of paper of some sort. I like using a colored piece of paper, and you're going to be thinking through your priorities. So, in the files below, oh, it won't let you do it. I was just thinking it will let you do it, but it won't if you're not a subscriber. So just email me or message me and I'll do a link. So in the link below, you can link it and I will give you the file for going through your priorities. And if you're already a subscriber, then you'll have it right there in the PDF. You don't have to click the link. So the link will be the same thing that's in the PDF that's with this file, the priority party. Okay, so the first part is folding it in half like I just did. Let me come over here to the document camera. Oh, that's kind of crooked. There we go. And I'm just going to write down on one side some of my priorities. This can be as detailed or as specific as you want. So some people just say like family, and they just spent, how much time on family. Other people will go through and label, each family member. You might divide them up into children and husband. You might maybe have a special needs kid. And so, whatever your kid's name is that needs a little bit more energy, or they have therapies, things like that. So go through here and write down people first. Obviously, they're a priority. Another thing that you're going to probably spend time on is any of your organizations. So if you are a part of a church or you have a volunteer group, something like that, maybe you're in a co-op, maybe homeschool planning is a priority. Homeschool, oh, I can't spell homeschool. And so you know how this is just a brain dump as well as a priority thing. So you don't worry about it. Don't stress out. Homeschool plans. Your planning might be a different thing than your prep time, right? On Sunday evenings is when I sit down and kind of prepare for the next week. I think through, okay, what do my kids need? Do I have all our books ready? I go and find everything on Sunday evening and make sure it's at the ready in the schoolroom or the school space or wherever. So we have a basket where all of our school stuff goes. I also print out the charts for the week. Sometimes I do that Monday morning. Like today, I just did it this morning. So my charts are my list. You might have a lesson plan book, things like that. All right. Beyond that, if you're like kind of spreading it out nice and big, that's good. After that, you might have housework. For your housework, is it your kitchen that takes up most of your time? Or is it dusting or organizing? For me, it's definitely organizing because I don't organize as I go. I should, but I don't. So maybe that's something I can change this month. Bill paying, that takes some time. And then other things that after you kind of get to where the things that you have to do, now think about things that you do spend your time on that you probably should spend less time on. For me, it's definitely Facebook. I do have to be on there for business. That's where a lot of my information comes from and gets to my customers through Facebook, but then sometimes I'm mindlessly scrolling too. I do some YouTube research, sometimes for different languages and language teaching, as well as watercolor. Okay, so that's something I spend a lot of time on. I've discovered the new hobby of watercolor painting because I actually take a class. So I spend quite a bit of time doing that. Do I feel good or bad about it? I don't know. YouTube research. Are you a reader? Do you spend time reading? Maybe you shouldn't. And then cooking. It just depends on talking on the phone. Okay, so if you were here with me, I would just be probably closing this down and letting everybody talk, and y'all would be chatting and saying, what about gardening? It's literally anything you spend time on the daily or weekly. If it's only once a month, I wouldn't call that something. not with the phone, on the phone. What else do I do? I mean, business, so like customer service emails, and then researching other curriculum, college prep, things like that. Do you spend time on your car? Whatever it is. All right, so this is step one. Step one is just listing your priorities. If you haven't gotten to it and you're like, I'm not sure, then pause the video and go through. Step two is cutting it apart. I'm going to pause the recording so you don't need to see me cut it, but basically I'm going to cut down the middle and then I'm going to cut a strip. And I'm also going to detail this like kitchen. I'm going to put kitchen cleaning. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I used my handy dandy scissors and I cut it all up. I use this color. I usually use yellow. This is kind of orange colored, but yellow is a color that activates your memory. Red activates your appetite. If you have a red kitchen and you're trying to lose weight, maybe repaint it. Green activates calm or learning, education stuff. Think about growth. And then blue helps you to be calm. That's why so many doctors' offices and things like that are colored and painted blue. So I'm using yellow or kind of yellow orange here to activate your memory process. Your memory is also connected to other things like organizing and categorizing information. So when we talk about brain health, which is really big with learning a language, which is why I know a lot about it, is it's important to think about where you are, what you're surrounding yourself with. It may be that you're super insensitive to color, but most people aren't. And if you just pay a little bit of attention, you might be able to change some of your thought process or your timing. All right, so this step now is to take your information and write down what's the most important to you. So like my number one priority would be my faith. I didn't put a time on that. Maybe I should go ahead and write my faith. Spending time in the Lord's Word is a number one priority, is making sure I keep my faith strong. So I'll put that up here first, then my husband, and then my children. After that, I would say extended family, like my mom and other relatives that live nearby, or relatives that don't live nearby. Then I would probably say priority. Yeah, it's kind of hard, right? Okay, let me go for things that don't matter. Things that I don't prioritize, I don't need to do. I'm gonna put way down here, YouTube. Oops, let me get this where you can see everything. YouTube research should be way down here. Facebook slightly above it because I do have to use that for school or for marketing and for business. Talking on the phone, I rarely do, but it used to be way up here back in the day. Prep for homeschool is important. Cooking is important, but I'm probably under there. Okay, so you get the idea. I'm not going to keep on going through all mine. That's going to be very boring for you. So get yours done. Okay, so now I've taken the time to go through and laid out all of my priorities in an order of which I would like it to be. Like this is my heart priorities of what I think is the most important to me. So my faith is the most important, husband, and then these kind of got a little bit, hard to decide what's more important than another. I found out while having to decide, oh yeah, my church time, going to church is more important than my hobby. So if I had to choose between watercolor or going to church, I'm going to go to church. Bill paying is less important, meaning I know it'll get done. If I don't do it, my husband will do it. Same with cleaning the kitchen. Oops. Kitchen, and it really should say cleaning. If I don't clean the kitchen, then one of my kids will. Like it's not a big deal, or my husband will. Cooking, same thing. Customer service for Flip Flop Spanish, I definitely have that up there because nobody else can do it. Like, they just can't do it. My charts is for homeschool, homeschool planning. That means my overall vision for homeschooling for this year. So if my students are a junior, my little girl is a junior, and my last boy is a senior. And so what do I want for them? That's my basic homeschool plan. I don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but it's more important than the other things. Then down here, I have all this stuff. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a picture. So you want to get out your phone, take a snapshot of your setup right here because you're going to need to refer to it. I'm trying to find my camera here. All right, so I'm going to do what I tell you to do. All right, so now I got a picture. Okay, I did that. Now I have a picture of it. I'm going to flip these over and I'm going to actually take them out of order so I'm not cheating myself. Flip it over and you say, how much time do you actually spend? And you can do it per day or per week. So I'm going to put for faith, I'm going to put per day first and then per week, because sometimes these are weekly assignments, right? So every day I spend about an hour, probably either praying or listening to the Bible app, worshiping, reading, praying, things like that. So weekly, probably more than that, probably 8 to 9 hours. Okay, bill paying, maybe weekly, 30 minutes, maybe. Watercolor painting, I wish I spent more time on this, but probably per week. I have that 1 hour class. So, okay, so you get the idea. I'm going to put weekly on this side. I don't want you to have to be bored and see me go through all this. And then daily, um, I say 45 minutes minimum. All right, so I'm gonna pause this and do each one. All right, so what I've done now, I didn't do all of them. Like Bobby was my pretend child that maybe had special needs. So if I had a Bobby, I would probably say I would, if, depending on the special needs that he had, I'd probably do like maybe 45 minutes specific for his actual needing, whatever it is that he needs. And then maybe it's like 8 to 10 hours a week, depending on the weekend and what events we have. So we'll see. All right, so your idea now is keeping them flipped upside down. Your job is to look at what thing takes the most time. So weekly or daily. So I'm going to start with the most over here. 30 minutes is going to go down and you get the idea. So here's something that's going to be 90 minutes per day, but it's only 6 hours per week. So I don't know what it is. So I hope you're kind of getting the idea here is that you're putting them in order of time, flipped upside down. All right, so I cheated a little bit. I didn't put one on the back of my family, my school charts, or my customer service, just because I've already done this exercise with others and at an earlier date. And so I just kind of ran out of steam. But for you, hopefully you see I've got the thing I spent the most time on. And again, it's very general, right? I'm just kind of guessing. So something that I spend 2 hours per day on and about 15 hours per week. Let's see what that is. Oh, hey, my children. Okay. And so you can see what is it now? What's the difference between, oh, that feels bad. Look at all the other priorities. And my Facebook was down over here. And that's the second one as far as me being honest with myself and what I spend my time on. Oh, interesting, right? So the question is, how do you change it? Oops. How do you change it to be what you want it to be? This is my fictitious child. That doesn't really count, but okay. Reading. Oh, interesting. All right. And so if these over here, it doesn't take me very much time. It's a high priority, but it just doesn't require a lot of time. So recognize that the time is not always going to match up to what your heart is. I mean, because church, it only takes 1 hour a week. Oh, oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. So you can kind of see top priority and top time spent. Yay, that's pretty close. This one definitely needs to be moved down. So what do? I need to give myself a stake. So I'll put down in the description some steps, or I'll probably just put it on the PDF, some steps. So let me go ahead and switch back to my face here. So one of the steps to move something down the list, like it shouldn't be that high on your priority. Like it's a lower priority, but my time and my brain space is giving it more than it should take. And a lot of these are just mindless habits that we really need to change, but we've gotten complacent. And now here we are in January, we're in a new year. We want to form some different habits. So let's look at it. Some ways to move things up the list. No, let's talk about the things that we need to move down the list. Things we need to move down the list. First of all, ask yourself, do I need to do this today? Because probably what's happened is you're doing it daily and you don't need to do it daily. For me with Facebook, marketing wise, I don't have to do it daily, but I would probably need to do it at least 4 times a week as far as the organic stuff. So, but the second thing is I can set a timer, right? If I get on there during the most active times, 5 to 10 minutes of scrolling, clicking, responding, and keeping the business up as far as engaged. I do not need to spend hours. So that's one way to move something down. Ask myself, do I need to do it every day? And then just give myself a time limit of how much time I'm actually going to spend on it. And then the last thing to help move a thing down, a priority down the list where it shouldn't be up that high, is do something else. Like you can't do it until blah, 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 blah. So over here, my lower priority things, my lower time things, organizing. I'm so frustrated with my organization. Well, look, I spend like no time on it. My kitchen cleaning, that could be better. My prep basket. These things could easily move up the list and make my life better. So if I say, you know what? I am not going to get on Facebook until after I organize one thing. And I give myself that goal, then I do Facebook, then it's going to automatically help my priorities to come in line with my heart, with my goals, with what I actually want my life to look like. All right. So moving things up the list. That was moving things down the list. Let's see. Moving things up the list. Do it first. You're like, oh, I never spend time in my Bible. I really want to spend more time reading, or I want to spend more time worshiping, or I want to spend more time praying. Do it first. Don't do anything else. Get up, do it before you get your coffee. Whatever it is, do it first. Second, writing down a notebook that you have to do but you didn't do. So if you have a notebook, I love using the skinny books, right? Everything that you fold in half, everything that you make small, like that's why you cut it up. This is so much more manageable than a gigantic list of priorities that I'm not hitting. But if you have a little notebook and you say, okay, these are the things I have to do, and I didn't do them today. After dinner, you're like, oh, and you have that mama guilt. And instead of sleeping with that mama guilt, offload it onto a piece of paper. I will think about that in the morning. I am not thinking about that tonight. I'm going to put it on my ledger and I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to challenge myself to tend to these things in the morning. Then do it. If you don't do it, you made it to the next night and it still hasn't been done. You transfer it over here. The things you did, check, 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 check. Yay, give yourself a star. Give yourself like a little happy dance. Play some music that you love. Do something that treats you. Yay, I did the things on here. If you didn't do it, it's not checked. You didn't get the happy dance. You write it on the next page. Offload that mama guilt. I will do it in the morning. And so on and so forth. At some point, you're going to lie to yourself and say, I did it. I'm not transferring it, which at what point you're deciding it's not a priority to you, which is okay. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like weed pulling. Who cares? Maybe you used to care and now you don't care because you've transferred it 78 times onto the next paper. And you're like, forget it. I'm not transferring it again. Or you go, oh, I'm so sick of rewriting this one down on the next page. And so then you get it done. And you're going to feel so good. You're going to start having that motivation to prioritize better. Give yourself a stake, like not steak, S-T-E-A-K. Those are good, but a stake, S-T-A-K-E. I won't have coffee until, like, I'm talking like ever, like until I've organized my bills or whatever it is, matched your socks. No coffee until that's done. Some of us are like, I don't care. I'm not going to have coffee then. And you've stopped drinking coffee. Others of you are like, I can go. And then the next morning you go, oh no, I can't have coffee yet because I haven't organized my socks. So a lot of this is discipline, self-discipline, trusting yourself to follow your own rules, executive functioning, like keeping your impulse control and feeling like you want to do something and not doing it, or not feeling like you want to, but doing it anyhow. So a lot of it is personal development, all through this little exercise of prioritizing and being honest with who you actually are. Like y'all saw me. I flipped over that second one. It said children. I was like, oh, feel happy and good. And I flipped over the next one and it was Facebook. Oh. So I was honest with you. You can be honest with yourself because I'm not even there to give you a face and look at. I'm so ashamed. No, I would not do that. I would be like, it's okay. It's okay. We'll have some coffee and we'll deal with it later. Or, okay, well, what's your plan to deal with this? And then we would go forward. So hopefully this encouraged you to write down your priorities. Another step that you can do if you're like, oh, I'm not really ready for cutting things up and writing down time stuff, is just do a brain dump. Just write down all the things that bother you, all the things that are in your brain. all of it. Just write it down. That's it. Maybe you can do the prioritizing another day. All right. I am seriously Suzanne. I hate saying that because this is not supposed to be part of the business. This is just somebody said, hey, offer this to your customers. So I did, and nobody came. But it's okay because it is 2 o'clock. And it's right at 30 minutes. This is what I wanted to be done with. So print the PDF, go to the link, and let me know. Comment if you did this. Comment and let me know how you enjoyed it. All right. Hasta pronto. See you around.